Hey everybody, today I want to make a video about two Fleetwood Mac albums. And they are both Fleetwood Mac albums that are from their middle period. So, before the whole Rumors band where they had Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, and after the Peter Green, the very early British blues phase of Fleetwood Mac. These are the albums that are in between that I think get really overlooked. I made a video a couple days ago about one of those albums. And today I'm going to show you two more from that same kind of time period. So the first one I'll show you, we'll go in order of when they were released here. This is an album by Fleetwood Mac called Bare Trees. Now this is really, truly a hidden gem. This album is absolutely a fantastic record by Fleetwood Mac. This is released in 1972. And by the way, it features a very cool photograph on the cover. And this is a photograph that was taken actually by the bass player John McVie, so that's pretty cool. This album, this particular pressing, sounds amazing. It is on the original Reprise label, as you can see here, and it's in just really perfect condition. And it has such a beautiful analog sound. It has that analog magic that I'm always talking about. It's just got really rich bass, fantastic sounding drums, excellent guitars. Just a really great album. And actually, the guitars are the highlight of this album for me. They have tons and tons of layered guitars that are just so melodic and so nice, and they really come through on this pressing in a really brilliant way. And I gotta say, so this is one of the last albums that, actually it might be the last album that Danny Kirwan worked on. And all of his guitar work on this album is the stuff that I really appreciate the most. And I think that a lot of people really can get into on this record. And I think, to me, the two people that really come through on this record that just make the album great are Danny Kirwan and Christine McVie. Both of those songwriters' songs on here are just fantastic. And actually, oddly enough, my favorite song on this album is the last song on side one. It's an instrumental called Sunny Side of Heaven. And it just has beautiful guitar work, and it's just a really brilliant song. But this album has a bunch of other amazing songs as well. There's actually a Bob Welch song on here called Sentimental Lady, which is really good. And they actually re-recorded that song later on, but this is the first version of that. Song by Christine McVie called Homeward Bound, which I like a lot. Also a song called Spare Me a Little of Your Love by Christine McVie. Also amazing. So this is just a great, I call it the middle period for Fleetwood Mac. So this album is called Bare Trees. And if you want to get this exact pressing, you can get it on my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. Check it out because it's a really cool Fleetwood Mac album. Moving on to another Fleetwood Mac album from this middle period. This is an album called Mystery to Me. Now this is my favorite of all of the middle period Fleetwood Mac albums. And like I said earlier, the middle period, I'm saying not the Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks, Rumors time period, and not the Peter Green time period. This is the middle period. And this is my favorite one, Mystery to Me. This is the one that really has the guitar player Bob Welch's stamp all over it. Has two songs on here that are some of my absolutely just favorite Fleetwood Mac songs, and I mean for all of Fleetwood Mac's entire career. And those two songs are Hypnotized, which, if you haven't heard that song, stop this video right now, find it on YouTube, on Spotify, however you find music online. Look up Fleetwood Mac, Hypnotized, and it will blow you away. First of all, the drum groove on that song is so fantastic. The kick pedal is doing amazing things. Mick Fleetwood, I talked about it a million times, but Mick Fleetwood is just one of the best drummers of all time, and he's just so fantastic, especially on this album, especially on that song, Hypnotized. Look that up. Another great song that I love on this album is Emerald Eyes, which is another Bob Welch song. And this whole album, though, I have to say, is fantastic. So you can't go wrong with this record. If you haven't heard Mystery to Me by Fleetwood Mac, now is the time to listen to it because this will blow you away. And this is an album that if you put this on for just kind of a casual music fan and you put it on and you didn't tell them who it was and you had them guess, they would never be able to guess that this is Fleetwood Mac. They would guess a million other bands until you finally told them it's Fleetwood Mac. So it's one of those really fun hidden gems in my opinion. Now this particular pressing, like the other Fleetwood Mac album I showed you, Bare Trees, happens to be an early US pressing on the Reprise label. And again, in fantastic, beautiful near mint shape. And there's side 2. I don't know why I bother showing you side 2 because it looks the exact same as side 1, but there it is. This album, it's just got, again, that beautiful analog magic that you can only really get from the 60s and the 70s. And this album has that beautiful magic, and especially on songs like Hypnotized, Emerald Eyes. There's another song on here called Crazy Love that has Christine McVie playing. She wrote the song and she's singing on it, and that song is really, really good. Another thing about this album that I really like are all of the backing vocals. There's some really, really cool backing vocals going on, and they have some interesting effects going on with the backing vocals as well. And on this pressing, all of the instrumentation on here and the vocals, they all really jump out of the grooves and out of the speakers at you, and they really create like almost a false sense of like surround sound. It's really an interesting way that they mastered this album. It sounds so good. So anyway, as you can tell, I love this album. I also love Fleetwood Mac's Bare Trees album as well. But this is definitely my favorite middle period Fleetwood Mac album, Mystery to Me. So if you want to pick up this exact pressing of this album, this very one I'm holding right here, you can go to my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. Both Mystery to Me and Bare Trees are on the website right now. They are both listed for a very, very good price. So check these two out. And I wanted to also mention that I have 2 other Fleetwood Mac albums. Both are from the Peter Green time period of Fleetwood Mac. Peter Green, obviously for those of you who don't know, Peter Green, the Peter Green version of Fleetwood Mac is the very first formation of Fleetwood Mac when they were just a British blues band. Peter Green, of course, is just one of the all-time greatest guitar players, greatest blues guitar players. He's up there with Eric Clapton and Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page, all those amazing British guitar players that came out of London in the late 60s. And the 2 albums that I have up on the website, and I've talked about these before, but they're still up there and they are amazing, so I want to mention them again. This is Mr. Wonderful by Fleetwood Mac. I was showing it to you sideways there. And again, this is a very early UK pressing, and it is quite brilliant, and these are very, very hard to find. This is on the Blue Horizon label, and it's just an amazing record, and you just cannot find these anymore. They're very hard to find. They're very, very expensive, but I have them on the website for a pretty good price, so check this one out, Mr. Wonderful. And the other one is Then Play On, which is another album, and this is I think this is the last one that Peter Green played on with Fleetwood Mac. I could be wrong, but I think it's the last one. And this one happens to be on the Tricolored Reprise label, which is again very, very hard to find, and especially in this shape. And this is another one that just sounds really, really great. And if you're into that early British blues sound that came out of London, then these 2 Fleetwood Mac albums you would really enjoy them a whole lot. So go to my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com, check out all of these Fleetwood Mac albums, and there's got to be something out there that you will enjoy, especially if you're into Fleetwood Mac, because as I've said many times, and if you look at my write-ups for all of these albums, I always include this first paragraph where I talk about, in my opinion, there are like 4 main phases of Fleetwood Mac's career. There's the first phase with Peter Green, which is their like British blues phase. Then the second phase with like Danny Kirwan and Jeremy Spencer. Then the fourth phase, or the third phase rather, I almost skipped the phase there. Third phase with Bob Welch and Christine McVie, and then the fourth phase, of course, with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, the whole Rumors and Tusk era. So, Fleetwood Mac is a very complex band, but all of their phases, in my opinion, have great music that everyone can enjoy. So, go on my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com, check out these Fleetwood Mac albums, and talk to you soon. So, bye for now.